All right, and there it is. Now we're moving.
Yeah.
We're just still hung up on like the poetry podcast
From last week, yeah.
And we're still not in our right mind.
Oh yeah, we're not even on our left mind. Hi, gang.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
How are we? This is Monkey Business.
It has been Monkey Business.
Your weekly trip into something weird. I am your host, Chris. As always, with me, Billy and Tanya. In the studio today, Rob and Zach and Becca. Ooh. And my baby boy, Ian, is hanging out in the background being all bored, and I can't blame him. And on the phone with us, the ever-present, the ever-lovely Sherry. Hello, Sherry.
Hello.
And you have your whole, you have your peanut gallery with you today, I'm assuming. Am I correct?
I do. I have Chris and Alana.
And Alana, the monkey wench, is there. Hi, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm having more fun than I know what to do with. And also on the phone with us today, is the illustrious, the amazing Sybil. Hi, we missed you, honey. We haven't heard your voice in so long.
I know, it's been forever.
I'm so happy to hear from you, kiddo. And you're playing injured today. I'm hearing.
I am playing injured today.
Oh my God!
But even injured, she can give us a good lowdown
I'm telling you,
leverage.
This is a thing. We've got a little leverage on some leverage today, and so we're doing another Not a Book Club episode. We've done. Well, now, what have we done on Not a Book Club so far? We did the movie Heathers.
Heathers, Black Mirror.
We did an episode of Black Mirror, the British sci-fi series.
This is our third one.
And this is our third one. We're going to take a dip into Leverage. The Timothy Hutton starring vehicle that has been out. Is it done?
Yes,
are they
it's
making
done.
anymore?
It was 2008 to 2012.
Okay, 2008 to 2012.
5 seasons.
Now, the basic premise is, in essence, is the bad guys turn good guys. And you have a crew of misfits and criminals who have now turned their powers to help those. It's almost like a Mission Impossible meets the A-Team.
The whole premise is former insurance investigator Nate Ford and his band of cohorts act as modern day Robin Hoods, pulling elaborate scams targeted against the greedy and the corrupt. Nate was inspired to begin his con business when his former employer refused to pay for treatment that could have saved his son's life. All
right, and then so that's where that whole kind of thing spirals from there. Now, on the panel today, who's been watching this show regularly? I see Tanya raises her hand, and Becca kind of sort of.
Then Sybil and
Sherry, you guys are.
Yeah.
Now, Sherry, was this your idea? That this podcast?
My idea.
Now, first, I want to say, thanks for giving me another show I got to binge watch.
He's got to be a completist. So.
And second, thanks for giving me another show I got to binge watch. It was really fun. The 2 episodes I had to watch, I loved. But where I'm going to fit this in, I don't know. But wow, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like. I don't know if I stayed away from it because of the title, and I thought it was going to be some business procedural, or, The Good Wife. Or
right.
I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't that, and I really liked it. So.
The hallmark of a good show is not so much the story, but the characters and how they interact with each other. And there's a lot of fun chemistry between
my God. There's
the
lots
crew.
Of chemistry between them.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, last Friday on my way to work, my wife was dropping me off, and I asked her, "Have you ever watched a show called Leverage?" I hadn't watched it yet. I wanted to get a vibe from her, what it was, or if she liked it or what. And she goes, "I'm not sure." So when she got home, she checked and said, "Yeah, I have watched it. I don't think I liked it that much. I thought it was okay." And so when I looked at Netflix, she actually watched 51 episodes. How do you say you thought it was? You watched 51 episodes
of the damn thing.
And there's only 77.
Yeah.
So
she watched most of it.
2/3 of it.
So when she watched it with me, she got a new appreciation for how much I was enjoying it. And I know her. She was like half watching it while she worked or something.
Yeah.
So everybody brings their a certain thing to the table. You have Timothy Hutton's Nathan Ford, who is the mastermind. Yes. And then Gina Bellman plays Sophie Devereaux, the grifter. The actress. And it's funny how in the early episodes they basically make fun of her when she's on stage or in front of a movie camera. She's horrible. And Timothy Hutton's character, he would always say that's not her stage. And then the moment she goes into a con, and then all of a sudden she's this brilliant thing, and that's her stage. Christian Kane plays the hitter, Elliot Spencer. This is the guy who's just basically the thug. He's good at beating people down.
He's a great thug.
Beth Riesgraff playing the maniacal cat burglar Parker. I mean, talk about unhinged characters.
Oh, I love her.
Parker is hilarious.
She's like my favorite character.
Yeah, Aldous Hodge is Alec Hardison, the hacker. So you have the hacker, the cat burglar, the grifter, the hitter, and the mastermind, and that's your team. That's your leverage team. So when we started coming up with the doing this as homework for the Not a Book Club, Sherry suggested one particular episode, the Roshomon Job.
And this all stemmed from which series would we rewatch or not?
Okay, that was the conversation.
That we had so many podcasts ago, and we were talking about X-Files and things like that. And then Sybil jumped on. She's like, "Oh, I love rewatching Leverage," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I love that series." And then
so everybody was talking Leverage.
I've already watched it like 2 or 3 times. So, but yeah.
I think I'm on my 6th rewatch of the entire season.
Wow,
Woo-hoo! 6.
It actually reminds me a little bit of a TV show that only had 2 seasons. Only the first season I thought was really excellent. But if you ever come across Human Target.
Okay, yeah. Human Target. Now,
I really liked it.
Who was in that one?
What was that guy's
Was that
name?
recent?
Yeah, about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't remember the main guy's name. Jackie Earle Haley, who played Rorschach in The Watchmen, and way back in the day was Kelly Leak in the original Bad News Bears.
Okay,
was in it. And
as soon as we hear it, we're gonna.
God, I gotta look it up now.
Mark Valley.
Mark Valley played Christopher Chance. Yes,
Shea McBride.
Shea McBride played his.
Winston.
Winston. Yep. And Jackie Earle Haley was the computer hacker, and
so kind of a similar setup.
Yeah, and they had to go undercover, and Christopher Chance would take the place of people in trouble. He was the human target.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do remember seeing an episode of that. I get it. All right,
I really liked that show. And Leverage sort of reminded me a bit of that.
All right,
I watched it. So.
Sybil, what brought you to this particular show? Why is it? What is it popped up on your radar so much?
I honestly started watching it random Sunday on some random station. They just had a marathon playing.
And
I just started watching it. And then every Sunday they had a marathon. So I just got really into the show.
Nice. Now,
and eventually just watched every episode several times.
Gotcha. Now, Sherry and Sybil, you guys have this is kind of like your show. I'd say of the panel on today that you two are probably the biggest fans of Leverage. Do you, in your impression, feel that this show falls into the usual what I've called the American TV trap, where it's very formulaic? You can kind of start predict where everything is going, and the same thing kind of starts becoming the same story over and over and over again. Do you feel it kind of falls into that trap?
In a way, it's formulaic, but not in a bad way. It has a set. Okay, first something goes wrong. They hire the team goes in, they start with plan A, something goes wrong with plan A, they switch to another plan. It's very much that way, but you're never sure where it's going to go, when it's going to go wrong, how it's going to go wrong. But you know that it requires everybody in the team to get, which is one of the reasons I like it, is because it's not the Timothy Hutton show.
Right, it's everybody has a part.
Everybody, you pull any piece out and it changes the show. In fact, there is a brief time when Gina Bellamy, who at the time was pregnant, left the show. They brought in someone else. And
Jerry Ryan.
For the people who are going to watch, I wasn't going to say.
Oh, sorry.
For the people who didn't know, who actually are planning on watching, they bring in a different scripter for a while. And it does change the show a bit, not in a bad way, but it does change the dynamics, and that's part of what I liked about bringing her in, is it really showed that it really was character-driven, and I love character-driven shows.
And right. Can I say one of the positives of the 2 episodes I saw is that these characters are so damn charming.
Yeah.
That even though they're not necessarily good people, like a couple episodes ago, I talked about seeing the movie Valerian,
right?
Where the good people, but I hated them. The 2 main leads, I didn't like them, even though they were the quote unquote the good guys. Whereas this show, I instantly just sort of really enjoyed the characters and the people playing them.
You're cheering for the bad guys.
Yeah.
How about you, Sibs?
I honestly think the same thing. It definitely follows a formula, but each episode is still slightly different.
Okay.
You don't quite know where the twist is going to come. And then when it does come, you're like, Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of saw that. But
Yeah.
I see how that works.
Right. But
And,
these are the shows that we watch for the character dynamic, though.
Oh, yes. Like, Elliot is my absolute favorite character.
Well, you've been crushing on Christian Kane forever and a day, if I remember correctly. You've been talking about
That's
Christian
very
Kane very often. So, yeah.
He's dreamy.
I love Christian Kane.
It looks weird with hair.
But you could have the thug be the brainless thug.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not. There is so much more depth to his character that he brings out throughout the whole series.
Mm-hmm. Now, do we find that Parker evolves at all, or does she just stay the psychotic, kind of, that girl's not hinged right?
She does.
Everybody evolves.
She evolves.
Everybody evolves. She grows up quite a bit.
Okay. Because I've only seen 2 episodes so far. I watched the very first episode, the pilot, and then I watched the Roshomon Job, because that's the one we talked about for today. So, so I saw those 2 episodes, and I'm like, I love her. She's awesome, but damn. She is a stick of dynamite with the fuse lit.
Yeah, you gotta watch. You gotta watch the series to see how she
There's
evolves
an
and
episode
changes.
where you work with her mentor.
Okay.
That episode is where you really see her grow up.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll ask, who plays the mentor? Do we know?
Oh, I forget his name.
Mr. Chamberlain.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
All right.
That's an awesome piece of casting. I'm hooked on that episode already, and I haven't even seen it.
There are so many great cameos. Mark Shepard's in it. We already mentioned Jerry Ryan.
Right.
Will Wheaton. Just all over the place.
Will Wheaton is in Leverage?
Will Wheaton's character is hilarious.
Oh, man.
He's
another hacker. And
he's a hacker, and he goes against Hardison.
Yeah.
Him and Hardison are like...
They're button heads?
They're like...
Isn't he the one with like the orange crush or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. All right, so let's talk about the Roshomon Job, which I think is great because some of the things that we've said already kind of lead into what we're going to talk about. And like with the Roshomon Job, I think it's a great episode because it takes place in the 3rd season. I think it's like episode 10 or 11. I can't remember exactly.
Episode 11.
Episode 11.
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, like you, Chris, I watched the pilot and then watched episode 11 of season 3.
Right.
At some point before that episode, did they take a break and sort of reintroduce the characters again? Because in Roshomon Job, you see sort of the first time they all met and didn't know it.
Yeah.
Oh, because that
and
happened.
they sort of it was almost like they were reestablishing the characters again for people who maybe would jump on after a break in the series.
I was kind of having that same feeling too, so I'm going to leave that to our experts who have watched more of the show. Do you feel like
I'm not sure that that's what they were doing. What I think that they were doing is it was a way of showing how far these characters had come. By going back to who they were before they got together, before they started working together, they were able to show that they really have changed in so many ways and are now entirely different people.
Right.
So now I have to really watch it 3 seasons to see how they've changed. I saw the first episode in that one, so they were basically the same people.
Right, because it was like the Roshomon Job, they're like looking at how they were 5 years prior to them being this team that are actually working together and how they were all looking at each other like, oh, this is how you saw me, and this is how you're looking back and thinking about the memories in what happens in 5 years. Things change. I'm like, Sophie Devereaux. They're like,
and their perceptions of each other.
Yes.
So let me for the listeners who may not be familiar with it, the basic premise of the Roshomon Job episode is that they're all at their usual hangout at the beginning of the episode,
the bar,
at the bar, and something is being covered on TV where they're talking about this an artifact had been stolen, and they're all arguing about. They're all saying that they're all insisting that they're the one who stole it, and then. Tim Hutton's character, Nathan Ford, comes in and goes, all right, well, tell me the stories and we'll figure out who's actually telling the truth. So they each tell their version of this evening's events from their perspective. And the funny thing is that when the first time out, you see just the one actor saying this is okay. Was it Sophie? Sophie tells it first.
Because she's the Duchess.
She goes through how she basically did this whole con and how she layered everything together, and you see all these people interacting with each other. And she goes, this is how
she was 2 characters.
She was playing 2 characters herself. And then, it was Elliot who was second, I think.
Elliot's second.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden now he's got the spin, but now you see where he actually fits into Sophie's story and how he was this particular person, not the character actor
No,
who
I think Elliot actually went second.
Yeah, Elliot was second.
So I'm saying Sophie, then Elliot.
I missed something.
Yeah, you're not
Sophie,
paying.
then
High
Elliot.
school student not paying attention. We're not used to that.
Then after Elliot was Hardison.
And then after Hardison was Parker, and then after
that was Nate.
Yeah. Then it was Nate. They all tell their perspectives, and so it's funny as they're going through, as each person's telling their story, they're telling it from their perspective, but now it's adding them into the original, the original thing. So now you're seeing that this person that Sophie was associating with was actually this character. It was this particular main character, and so they keep layering it on. And how I thought it was funny how they kept picking on Sophie's accent.
I was just going to say that.
Each layer gets sillier and sillier.
It was completely elegant, then the British Cockney, and then complete and utter.
It was Scottish,
understandable
and
gibberish.
Scottish. Yeah, she goes, wait a minute, you think I'm Scottish? Where the hell did that come in? So it's just Sophie's frustration.
One of the dwarves from Lord of the Rings, but that's okay.
I mean, so Sophie's frustration is everybody tries to basically say, well, this is how she was speaking. She's like, that's not me. So. And then, so it's this whole thing. It keeps layering.
It's funny because then she revises her story to make him more of a bumpkin.
Yes.
With a corn cob.
And she's like, no, you already had your turn. Now, here's, by the time that, let's see, it was Sophie, then it was Elliot, then it was it Hardison?
Hardison.
Okay, by the time that Hardison starts telling his version.
You already know the story.
Well, you know the story, but you're starting to guess which one's Parker, and I'm trying to think which one's Nate. I was thinking that the chief of security was actually Nate. That this guy who was played by the character
thought that for a moment.
Yeah, the guy who played the character of Phlox on Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't think of that actor's name right now, but Tanya has.
Yeah, but if you watched all 3 seasons, you would know by now that Sophie and Nate already know each other.
Okay.
Yes.
That's true. Yes, there's
they
enough.
Reference that in the pilot.
They do reference that in the. Well, here's the thing.
Each other or something.
I watched the pilot after I watched Roshomon Job.
Oh, so I watched the pilot first.
Yes, yeah. So I was because I'm an idiot. Yeah, nobody jumped to my defense. Thank you for that.
Sure as weather we're
You're
having
not
outside.
an idiot.
John Billingsley.
What?
It was John Billingsley who plays Phlox in Star Trek Enterprise. He plays the character of the chief of security, and it's great how he's like this fearsome presence.
Whatever, and then he's just like, I just want to ask her on a date.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get to the actual last telling of the story, and he's become this bumbling idiot. It's funny, and we're last week we were talking about poetry. And we did our poetry slam, poetry reading thing, and we talked about how perspective can change depending on the person. And this kind of fits into it because with the Roshomon Job, you're seeing the same set of events from the viewpoint of 5 different characters. And so it's how everybody interprets the same thing that happened, and you kind of piece together the presence of this particular item. So that was just me making observations. So anyway, carrying on.
Yeah, instead of watching the pilot, I went back and watched the Kurosawa film.
Okay.
Yes.
The what?
The Kurosawa.
Based on the Kurosawa movie Roshomon.
Yeah, Roshomon.
I see. Very nice. All right. So where are we going now, Sybil? Where are we going from here at this point on this conversation? Help me out here, because I'm not nearly as smart as I think I am.
True.
Stop. Did we lose Sybil?
No, just moving.
Oh, and moving with pain. I'm sorry. Sybil had a brief conversation with some rocks during a rafting expedition.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just very brief, very sudden. I think Sybil won, but, it was a Pyrrhic victory. So. You okay, hon?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
The great thing about the Roshomon Job episode is it really shows each person that they do need everybody else.
Okay. Yeah, and so it's kind of a reminder of how the team came together, that they were all soloists, but now they are a functioning single unit, and they need each other. All right. Where are we going? Sherry, what about you? Have you had any additional thoughts to add so far to this?
Well, one of the reasons why I love this particular episode, and this episode that you guys allowed me to pick which episode for us to do for this, is that, as was already mentioned, this is based on an Akira Kurosawa film called Roshomon, which is one of my all-time favorite films.
Okay.
And
right up there with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead.
Sorry. What?
One of your favorite films, right up there with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead.
Absolutely.
See, I pay attention.
So one of the things that I love about this, and it's something that that Alana, when I watched the episode for the second or third time with her, that she picked up, and it's something that I always loved about the movie, is you go into it thinking that Nate's version, because he is outside of the events, is the most real. You think his version of Cosmo's got to be right, because why would he have any other version of it?
Right.
They were all afraid of Cosmo, so of course, to them, he's this big, strong,
scary guy,
fearsome creature. But what does Nate care?
Yeah.
Except for as they're going through, they keep commenting that, he's might even be smarter than Nate.
Yeah.
And every time they flash over to Timothy Hutton, and he's got this look like, what do you mean? So in his version, he's a complete bumbling idiot.
Yeah. Well, the constant references to him being... Go ahead.
I love this idea that everything that everyone's seeing, everything they're relaying is through their own lenses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That Sophie's seeing it through the lens of a grifter. Mm-hmm. And Parker's seeing it through the lens of a thief, and Hardison's seeing it through the lens of a hacker, and Elliot as a hitter. But Nate has his own lens also.
Mm-hmm.
And where you understand is that truth is so subjective. And that's what the whole episode, to me, really shows, is that nobody has the whole picture.
Right.
Nobody has the whole story. And even when they get together all their stories, because it's all through their own lenses, we still don't have the same story.
That's poetry
and
right
there.
there.
And I find that just fascinating.
And that's kind of the vibe of the show. It brings these different personalities together, and like any good character piece, any ensemble piece, it's how the characters interact with each other, how they bounce off of each other, how they shape each other's perception of things. So, very cool.
Well, I think the one thing that I picked up on, maybe I'm wrong, somebody who is more learned in the show can correct me. Mm-hmm. We were talking about how they all need each other, because it was like they all got to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, the dagger wasn't there. Like, Devereaux, she gets back to England, opens up the crate. It's gone.
Right.
Because Elliot had
switched it.
But then
Parker
had swiped it out of there, swapped it with the fake, and then Nate had cracked the fake in half in front of
everybody.
Everybody. And it's like, okay, so like...
You see the journey of the actual item as it's going from person to person.
Yeah, and they were all just... They're that one little piece. They're all very highly skilled, but each of them has that one little piece that makes it a whole thing that works.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Fun stuff.
Now, I have a question, though.
Yes.
The show lasted for 5 seasons, as I looked up. And we mentioned off the air that it doesn't seem to have the fandom that most cult shows or clever shows or quirky shows seem to have. Most shows like this seem to find an audience that's fervent and online message groups and fan clubs, and Firefly was on for 1 year, and it's like it's the biggest show in the history of nerddom.
Right.
How come this show is so hard to find like a rabid group of fans of?
All right, Sherry and Sybil, do you guys got any insight on that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I honestly have no idea, other than it was a mid-season replacement, and it had one of those it did split seasons, where it was, they did it during, they did half the season during the winter break, and then half the season during the summer. It was one of those shows.
Okay.
And much like another show that I really love that has never gotten, I think, the publicity that I think it deserved, Rizzoli and Isles, that did the same thing.
Rizzoli and Isles.
Angie Harmon.
Yeah, that's another great one.
Yeah. Rizzoli and Isles. It's Angie Harmon.
Angie Harmon. Okay, I know who Angie Harmon is.
I've never heard of it. Like a police, detective type.
Yeah. Is it another Cagney and Lacey kind of a thing?
Kind of.
Whereas Freaks and Geeks, which is sort of our sort of what we are. Freaks and Geeks did the exact same thing. They had a couple months on, then they had to take a break for like the World Series or the Olympics or something, then came back on, and it lasted 1 year, but it has a very fervent following. Like people who love it.
Okay.
Oh, you'll like this. There's multiple references to Doctor Who throughout the whole series.
Yeah, I heard Hardison make a couple of comments about it. I was into that.
Agents Tennant and Smith.
Agents Tennant and Smith.
I missed that. Damn.
Not in this one, but they.
Yeah, no, it's a different episode.
Different episode, but they make a lot of references, and there was a Doctor Who reference, at least in this
in that
one.
one. Yeah, well, he was an outright comment about it, and then I see also in the trivia is that the number 42 is often used.
As it should be.
Exactly. It is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. All right, so...
Because Hardison is the person, he's the computer guy, he's the one who creates their IDs and things like that, and he is a well-established geek.
Oh, yeah.
It's often, there's a lot of geeky references in their personas.
Okay. Do we find that, and I'm going to ask about this, because seeing an African American as the geek and the nerd and the hacker and all that, is that different in this day and age? Is that something we didn't expect? Is that kind of cool that they really did they do it, and that it's because I'm looking at how shows are starting to cast more broadly, and they're not so concerned about the cookie cutter casting, and they're trying to basically take in, and that's going to lead me to a different point in a moment now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, I asked the question. I said, is this something that's nice? It pushes those boundaries?
I don't know if it pushes boundaries as like, well, we're going to take the stereotypical character and do this. Maybe it's just they auditioned a bunch of people. He was just maybe the best one.
And I think that's the point I'm shooting for is it's nice to see that they're not going for a particular look.
Right. And I think it was just he was the best character. I don't know if there was any, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if there was any racial motivation behind it, to diversify the cast, as it were.
I worry about American TV. I really do.
It's,
I mean, I've been watching a couple of shows that have been produced either by BBC or Canada. And Canada, for instance, has come out with Dark Matter and Killjoys,
Degrassi,
and that, and it's like, for instance, I just started watching Killjoys, and to see, the female lead is not she's very unique in her look. She's very her appearance is different, and her manner is different, and I always like the way that everybody other than America casts people.
That's the thing. It's like I don't know why, but they always say you have to look a specific way for a specific character. And I think, especially in this day and age, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, and so my social commentary wandering off.
I think of that because I actually watched Earth Girls Are Easy recently again. And then I'm a blonde. Yeah. And the part, what was the line again? Duck Magnum? And we don't have that. And I don't want to see that. I want to see different stuff. Whoever's, if the person's good in the role, let them be in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to when good storytelling wins out 100% of the time over ratings.
I say it about comic books all the time. Write good stories and we will come.
Yeah, seriously.
That would be lovely. I don't know if it'll happen.
It'll never happen.
Oh, it's nice to dream.
Not 100% of the time, at least.
No.
So we like Leverage, though. We're all into Leverage. I mean, Ian and I watched Roshomon Job, and then we watched the pilot, and then we just started from the pilot. We just let Netflix go ahead and start playing it. We went. How many episodes did we go in? Like 7. 3 or 4? 4 or 5? I don't remember, but it was.
It's hard. It just keeps going. It's like when you binge watch, you're just like, okay, go.
Now I'm in.
And, yeah.
Well, because I remember when we pitched this idea, and I actually asked, what's Leverage? I'd never heard of it.
Me either.
And now after watching 2 episodes, Billy, I'm like you. I got to binge watch it.
Yeah.
Because after the pilot, I was like, wow, I kind of like this show, and I kind of want to watch it, but I got to watch the other one. I got to watch the Roshomon Job for the podcast.
It's fun. It's truly check your brain at the door and sit back and enjoy.
Is it really, though? Is it fully a check your brain? No, I think it must
sort of have to pay attention.
Yeah, you do have to pay attention.
That may be why my wife. The 6th time watching it, then you can check your brain at the door.
That may be why my wife wasn't sure if she liked it or not.
Yeah,
because she wasn't really.
You're 51 episodes in.
Like I'm 2 episodes in. They're not even in a row, and I'm hooked. I want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, me too.
Apologies beforehand, but the more you watch it, the more leverage it has over you.
Jesus, he's been on fire today.
Close already.
Oh my Lord! This is when we all start vamping.
He's been waiting all day for these.
There's a rim shot for you. Holy cow!
I tried. That's how unready I was.
Good Lord! That's how bad Rob's been today. Is that Billy actually had to go to Billy Squire?
If that's a bad thing.
Oh, my stars. God. Oh, my stars. All right. So, Sybil, As we start wrapping the leverage chat up, what is it about the show that's gonna that you
Christian
really just
Kane?
Okay, other than Christian Kane,
Can I bring up the casting?
I can answer for her.
Okay, let's go with casting.
As someone who had never seen, and like I said, I'd never seen the show before. Timothy Hutton was honestly the only name I recognized.
Right.
The only actor on that show I knew. Who, by the way, I just want Timothy Hutton looks like Tim Allen in this. For me.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to ruin it.
No, it kind of looks like Tom Hanks to me.
The other one looks like Christian Slater, Eddie Murphy. Everybody seems to have.
So you're seeing leverage of the movie?
Yes. So I'm already casting a movie version of this with Christian Slater and Eddie Murphy.
Who would play Parker?
That's Ricecraft.
Yeah. Well, he's doing the whole Hollywood thing, so he's already
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she looks innocent enough, but she could flip that switch. And...
Actually, no, Uma Thurman.
That's possible.
Uma
Maybe.
Thurman. Yeah, I kept seeing...
I guess not.
Well, I kept seeing the Kill Bill movies when I saw her. She looked like the bride. So...
Yeah. Anyway, so where was I? I was asking. So what? Sybil and Sherry, you guys have gone back to this show over and over again. My question is, it's first to Sybil and then to Sherry. My question is this: it's very simple. It's why. What is it about this show that keeps you coming back to watch it over and over and over again?
I honestly enjoy how the characters interact with each other.
Okay.
There is not that single star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Each character actually is the star. So you don't feel like you're just watching for this person or you're just watching for this person.
Mm-hmm.
It's every single episode. Yeah, different episodes are centered around different characters, but you still need everybody else there to get the full experience.
Gotcha. So it's not Nate gets the team to do this, and then Nate gets the team to do that, and then Nate gets the team. It's Nate and Elliot and Parker and Sophie and
sometimes you just want to watch again to see what Parker does.
Yeah, I got that feeling.
I'm sorry.
Did I miss her doing something insane?
Yeah. So what is she going to get the rest of the team to do that they don't really want to do?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself at different episodes having different characters? Okay. Oh, Parker's my favorite. Oh, Elliot's my favorite. Like it.
They're all my favorite, but yes.
Yeah.
They're all my favorite.
Parker's my favorite more often than not.
Uh-huh.
But, I do love Elliot, and there's several Hardison episodes. There's one episode where he plays the violin, and that whole episode is just amazing.
Odd Job.
See, so far, Hardison's my favorite, based on my 2 episodes.
Okay.
Age of the Geek, baby.
I'll give Timothy Hutton a compliment, too. That Timothy Hutton, a compliment, too. He was better in this than in Iceman.
Oh, just... Anyway, nah, it was really not worth. But Iceman was another piece that Timothy Hutton played in, and it was a movie that you could forget very quickly.
It was good.
It was not good. It was not good. It was
easy.
So
careful, I'm in the middle.
People forget that he's an Oscar winner. When you're talking about casting it in a big Hollywood, he's an Oscar winner.
Timothy Hutton.
Really?
What did he win an Oscar for?
Ordinary People.
Hold on.
Was
Ordinary People.
Oh yeah. I'd forgotten about that.
Long time ago. He's amazing. He's an amazing actor.
I like him very much.
Some bad roles, but he's an amazing actor.
He always comes across as he is, he's always one step ahead of something.
Falcon and the Snowman. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie. Yeah, that was. I remember that one.
Yeah, he was in Taps too, I think. Wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody was in Taps. I remember when I was in grade school when that one came out. You were in Taps?
Yeah, it was amazing.
One of the junior students?
He's working on a new TV series called Jack Ryan.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the Lee Child books? Or no, that's Jack Reacher, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Ryan.
Clancy,
This is like
Jack
a
Ryan,
he's playing something called Singer.
Okay. That's interesting that they're going to do a Jack Ryan TV series.
Interesting.
That has a 50-50 shot. All right. So what else do we want to say about leverage before we wrap this one up?
So the thing that keeps me coming back to
Yes.
it is a couple of things.
Thank you.
One of them is that while all the show, except for like a couple of two-parters, all the shows are self-contained.
Okay.
Which is nice because you can watch it and then you can walk away and you can watch it again. You don't have to keep watching. But things have consequences. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With a lot of shows that do a bunch of one-offs. Okay, there's like, okay, this happened in this episode, and then you never hear about it again.
Okay, so
everything that happens has consequences, and it will be brought up later.
That's
cool. Come back and bite them in the ass when they least expect it.
See, that's what I liked about Fringe.
Good and bad.
Babylon 5 too.
Yeah, Babylon 5 and Fringe.
Lines can come back. There's like one of my absolute favorite Parker lines.
Okay.
There, like in one episode, she says something, and it has a certain meaning, and then a season later, she brings that up to let Hardison know that what they talked about in the previous season.
Pretzels.
Yes, pretzels.
Was it what?
What was the line?
I'm in the mood for pretzels.
I'm in the mood for pretzels.
It will make sense when you see the episode.
Okay. I'm all in.
But, I mean, these things have consequences. These characters, they change in such a way that it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Very cool to know.
So things don't come out of the blue. When they do things, it's because
something's happened in a previous episode.
And even Parker even says at one point, we agreed, we all changed together.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I'm looking forward to really getting into this show.
I kind of want
to. I'm ready to binge.
Yep,
I'm ready to binge some Leverage now.
Thanks.
I'm going back. I put it back
arms.
on my list. So.
Yeah,
great.
Got to binge that and Killjoys and Black Mirror and yeah. All right, what do we want to do on our next Not a Book Club?
I'm not sure.
Ian, you got your hand up.
Gotta,
what do you want? What do you want to suggest? What's that?
Warehouse 13.
Warehouse 13.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, so
What's
our next.
That? Is that a good?
I love that show. I love that show.
All right.
That show.
Oh, it's a show. Okay, I thought it was a movie.
No,
it was
Warehouse 13
Sci-Fi
is
Network.
a sci-fi.
It's
got Saul Rubenstein.
Saul Rubinek. And,
yeah.
Yep, Rubinek.
Particular episode, the pilot.
I would say maybe the pilot.
Let me.
I got to start with the pilot.
We'll start with the pilot.
gotta,
So we'll Not a Book Club the pilot of Warehouse 13 in the next time we do the Not a Book Club sessions. All right? Good?
Warehouse 13 is like a cross between Eureka and the X-Files.
Yes.
Well, actually, it's a spin-off of Eureka because they cross over on a couple of occasions. There's a couple of times where Eureka characters pop up in Warehouse 13 and vice versa, where you're introduced to Allison Scagliotti. Anyway.
God bless it.
Chris and his one-track mind. Hello. Okay.
Is it on Netflix? Is it easy
I'm not
to
sure.
find?
No.
No?
It's not.
Uh-oh.
It used to be.
It used to be. That's how
Maybe
I got.
Amazon?
Maybe Amazon.
Amazon Prime?
I guess we'll find it.
We'll figure that out. So, and if we need to, then we'll do something else too. So we'll but right now, tentatively we'll put Warehouse 13 on the radar of future Not a Book Club episodes. All right, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys for participating as always. Sybil, always lovely to hear your voice. I haven't heard it in ages. We have to fix that. I miss my baby sister.
Yes.
All right. So you and I have to have a proper catch up soon. And so for Sybil and Sherry, ever the great contribution. And for Rob, and for Zach, for Becca, for Tanya, for Billy, and myself, I am Chris. Wow, we had a lot of people on today.
We did.
This has been Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation. Producers and purveyors of the Flower City Comic Con. Coming at you with the mini-con, September 23rd and 24th at the Grease Ridge Center Mall. And then again, the big show, FC3, coming at you June 9th and 10th of 2018. Like us, love us, follow us on Facebook, and we will see you next week.